do it earlier, then also it is problem. So last times we are discussing the propagation techniques. I mean, wireless propagation, guided wave propagation we have seen, and wireless propagations technique we have seen. I mean, we have seen the guided media can be, the transmission media can be guided and unguided. In guided media, we have seen three type of communications are there: twisted wire pair, coaxial cables, and optical fiber. And in case of wireless transmission, three frequency ranges are there. One is we have seen it, that is microwave frequency range. Another is broadcast radio, and third one infrared. Microwave also, there are different categories are there. I mean, terrestrial microwaves, satellite microwaves, DBS, direct broadcast satellite, those things are there. And broadcast range, we have seen the characteristic, it is omnidirectional beam you can have it. In case of the microwaves, directional beam you can have it, but in case of broadcast radio, at times you can have omnidirectional. That times antenna mounting is not so critical in case of broadcast radio, right? That is the up to gigahertz, you can say these ones, right? And their propagation infrared, of course, it is very high frequency. That is point-to-point link generally, but it can be multi-point link also, but it will follow the line of sight. Yeah, I mean, it is 10 to the 11 to 10 to the 14 hertz, right? That is the infrared range. And that is generally for in a single rooms. Nowadays it is called the visible light communications, where it is the advanced stage of this infrared communications. Anyway, so these they are the different the frequency ranges, and their propagation also based on the frequency range. There can be three kinds of propagation: ground wave propagations that follows the contour of the earth files. हेलो, हाँ हो गया उसके बाद लॉगआउट करके फिर करके देख रहे हो रहा है, तो वो शायद तो उसका कि बार बार करना पड़ेगा नहीं? अच्छा 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 अच्छा, आप ही देखे, ठीक हो गया। हाँ हाँ हाँ, ठीक है, क्लास शुरू कर दिए, ठीक है, थैंक यू। So in case of ground wave follows generally 2 megahertz AM radio, like these things. But in case of sky wave propagation, there are three kinds: ground wave propagation, sky wave propagation, and line of sight. In sky wave propagations, at times electromagnetic waves reflected from the ionosphere, and here the communications it will be possible for a longer distance through bouncing back and forth through a number of hops, right, reflected from the ionosphere. So BBC and the Voice of America, those are the things that are based on these things. Right, very long distance communication is possible with this, what I'm saying, the sky wave propagations. Another range is here, satellite communications, optical fiber communications. These are actually infrared communications. Infrared communications, they follow the, I mean, above a certain frequency, about say 30 megahertz, about 30 megahertz. Generally, it is not possible. It is transparent to ionosphere is transparent to electromagnetic waves. So that times there will be no reflection from the ionosphere. That times there must be line of sight for the transmitting and the receiving antenna. They must be within the line of sight. So these are the three kinds of propagation. Anyway, with this idea, now we can proceed for the next topic. That is just I'm written it. I've written it here. That is data encodings. Here, actually, we have discussed little bit in analog transmissions, digital transmission, analog signaling, digital signalings. So, yes, anybody want to say something? Anyone? Okay.
No, sir.
Okay. So we have seen this analog signaling, digital signalings. In case of analog signaling, electromagnetic wave is propagated through guided or unguided media. And in case of digital signalings, the data can be analog, digital, that is converted into digital signals. That is communicated through wire mediums, right? So once again, if you see in the details of it, so analog signaling and digital signalings, So data encoding plays vital roles. What type of encoding will be there? Data can be analog or digitals, but in case of say digital signalings, output will be digital signals. So you see, just I'm showing the block diagrams for digital signaling and analog signalings. So there will be encoding encoder. There will be encoder. There will be data source. Say GT is the data that can be digital or analog. And next encoder, next actually it will be your, after encoding you will get, this is your digital signals. This is the digital, and next you need decoder, because ultimately you should have your original informations. So you need decoder to get the data, so the input data, right? So this is the digital signalings. Right. And in case of analog signalings, you see, you need some kind of modulator here. Modulation is required. I'm just telling you. Just let me draw it and just tell you. So here, signal, it is termed as this can be digital or analogs. Digital or analog, and you need a modulator here. Next, you are getting ST signals, that is the analog signals, and you need demodulator to get your original data. Demodulator. Demodulator, that is your original data, right? So this is analog signaling. So if you see the first case, digital signalings, the data source, this GT, this data source, that can be analog or digitals, and it is encoded into digital signal. The data it is encoded into digital signals, that is XT, and this XT, nature of XT depends on the encoding techniques. Depends on the encoding techniques. The nature of XT depends on the encoding technique. We'll see details, encoding techniques, and it depends. And also, it is chosen. This technique is chosen to in such a way so that the transmission characteristics, like say bandwidth, etc., errors should be optimized. So the XT is converted, encoded in such a way that the transmission bandwidth is optimized. Some bandwidth is most concerned. So bandwidth should be conserved, or errors should be minimized. Right. So these things are there. Bandwidth, errors, that should be considered during encoding techniques. We'll see in details. There are different encoding techniques are there that will require more bandwidth. In some encoding techniques are there that require less bandwidth, but in some cases errors are more, in cases errors are less. So we'll see errors, bandwidth, they are the most important factors that will decide the nature of this encoding technique. This is the first case, and the second case, you see, in case of analog signalings, you see here something different is here. Here you require a constant frequency signals. A constant frequency signal is required, which is called carrier. Carrier, and that you know it, we already have studied to some extent carrier signals. Carrier signal is here, and here the data is transmitted. In this case, data is transmitted by modulating the carrier signals. Transmitted using the carrier signal by modulation. So in this case, modulation is involved. Modulations. And what is modulation? Is the process of encoding the data onto a carrier signals with frequency f. Say f is some constant frequency, some f is say fc, carrier signals. So modulation is nothing but the process of encoding the source data onto the carrier signals, and this modulation, it can be amplitude modulations that it can be amplitude modulations, it can be frequency modulations, or it can be phase modulations. So here these things are involved. So by modulating the carrier signals, data is transmitted in this case. So and in case of analog signals, analog signaling, see this MT, it is actually called the modulating signals. It is called modulating signals. Modulating signals, it may be digital or analog, and ST. This ST actually it is the band limited signals. We have seen this, we discussed what is band limited signals, like these things. Say band limited signals, right? And the actual forms of these encoding schemes in this case is considered to optimize some characteristics of the transmission. Just I mentioned the bandwidth, error, etc. Those things are to be considered during encoding technique. So what are the possible combinations if you just consider digital data, digital signals, like these things? So you can see and what are their advantages, disadvantages if you see. So 4 combinations are possible. Combinations are there. First is digital data to digital signals. Digital data, digital signals. Here you see, it is, if you see their characteristics, we'll see it is less complex. Equipments are less complex, and also it is less expensive. Less complex, and less expensive compared to the others. Less expensive, right? Then say digital to analog modulation schemes, etc. So equipments are cheaper in this case, right? And less complexity also there. Digital data to digital signals. Second one, digital analog data to digital signals. So we are considering digital signaling, digital. So analog data, digital signals. Analog data, digital signals. In this case, you see why it is required. Sometimes, if you consider the modern day communications, it's based on digital transmission. So it permits, if you consider these analog data digital signals, so it permits the digital transmission systems. We have discussed what is the advantage of digital transmissions. So it permits the use of digital transmissions, right? And also equipments nowadays, most of the equipments available are based on its digital transmission schemes. So it will give the advantage of modern day digital transmission systems. Third one is now we consider the analog signals. Digital data, digital signals, analog data, digital signals. Now digital data, analog signals. digital data, analog signals. Why it is required? Generally, just now digital transmission is most important modern day communications. But I told you also, in some cases, say for optical fiber, right? That times, or if you consider the wireless transmissions, in that case, the digital data cannot be transmitted as such. That times you have to convert the digital data into analog signals. Right, digital signal, you know, it is nothing but discrete, discontinuous voltage pulses. So those voltage pulses cannot be transmitted in space or through optical fibers. You have to convert this digital data into analog signals. In case of some media, say optical fiber, unguided transmissions, unguided transmission media. They require for signal propagations, they need analog signals. So in that case, you have to convert digital data to analog signals. That is the advantage. That is the requirement of digital data analog signals. When you consider the media like optical fibers, where you can have huge bandwidth and unguided transmission, wireless, mobile, etc. Those things, requirements, their importance, you know it. So you need analog signals in those cases. And fourth one is analog data. Analog signals. You see it here. In this case, analog data can be transmitted as a baseband signals easily and cheaply, just like say fast transmissions. Voice transmissions over voice gate lines through voice gate lines. So here, that times analog data can be transmitted analog signals, and in this case, you know, the FDMs, frequency division multiplexings, FDM can be used to increase the channel capacity. Right? Frequency division multiplexing, which is easy to implement, where you know the different signals can share the frequency. I mean, here different frequency slots are there. Frequency slots are used for different signal sources. So FDMs, we'll see in details of all those things. FDMs and other multiplexing techniques. So these are the different encoding. There were different possible schemes. Right. Now focus on this. We'll consider not in details of all those things because already I've read some things of those things, but we'll focus on mainly focus on this digital data, digital signals. You just consider this digital data. In between, if you have any questions, you can ask. Digital data, digital signals. Any questions in between, you should ask. So digital signals, we know it. Digital signal is nothing but what is digital signals? We have seen it is nothing but it's a discrete, discontinuous voltage pulses. It's a voltage pulses. Discontinuous, discrete voltage pulses, and each pulse it is the signal elements. It's called signal elements. Each pulse is called signal element, right? And so in this case, data is digital data. So binary data can be transmitted by encoding the data bit into signal elements. Encoding the data bit into signal elements. So that is the digital signals. right? Now, in this case, to know these how to convert these digital data into digital signal elements or digital signals or signal elements, some terms are important that you should know it. That is a unipolar signals. Unipolar signals. What is this ones? In this case, signal elements, they will have the same algebraic sense. Can be all positives, can be all positive or all negatives, right? So that's why it is called unipolar, all positive or all negatives, signal elements. And in case of, that means unipolar. And in case of polar signalings, in case of polar signalings, one logic state, say 0, it can be represented by positive voltage, positives, or other one positive voltage levels, or another one can be negative 0, 1, 0, 1. So 0 can be positive voltage levels, 1 can be negative voltage, or reverse, right? So that is called the polar signalings, right? And some more terms are there. That is data rate, that we know it, data rate. If you know the bit durations, from that you can find out the data rate R. So that is BPS, bit per second. So if you know the bit durations, the 1 by TB will give you the data rate. R equal to 1 by TB. That we know it. That is data rate. But another term is also here important. That is TB, the bit durations here. That is the modulation rate. Modulation rate. Right. Here actually it is the rate at which the signal level changed. The rate of changing the signal levels. Signal levels. That means signal elements, you can say signal elements. Signal, what is signal elements that we have seen is data bit, it is encoded into signal element. Binary data is encoded into signal element. Signal element, nothing but the voltage pulses. So the rate of changings, that means signal elements per second. Per second. That is the modulation rate. And here it is, actually it is called, it is expressed in terms of a baud. It's called baud and baud rate. The data rate is a baud rate. So these are the terms should be known to you when you deal with this type of encoding techniques. Now the next thing is this, when you consider the encoding techniques, one thing to be sure that the receiver should interpret the incoming signal successfully, right? After encodings, which so actually receiver should interpret what type of data it is. So for that, you see which factors will decide for successful interpretation of data at the receiver. There are factors are there, and that depends on the three factors are there. Three factors. In this case, it will involve how successfully data can be interpreted at the receiver. One is signal to noise ratio. Signal to noise ratio. Another is, or it can be EB by N0, that we have seen it, energy per bit by N0, that is, or data rate and bar, bit error rate. These are the three factors that will decide how faithfully the data can be received at the receiver. Right? So if you see, I mean, if you see, say signal to noise ratio, if you increase the signal to noise ratio, right, then you see what will happen. If you increase the signal to noise ratio, if you increase it, then bit error rate will reduced. Right, bit error rate will reduce. And if you increase the data rate, this will increase. Bit error rate will increase. And if you increase the bandwidth, then data rate will increase. Right. So these things are there. So that these are the factors should be considered for the interpreting the incoming signals. So once again, if you increase the signal to noise ratio, the bit error rate will reduce. If you increase the bandwidth, data rate will increase. But if you increase the data rate, the bit error rate will increase. Right? These things are there. But apart from these, so these the factors generally decide how successfully the receiver can interpret the incoming signals. But apart from this, one more factor is here, that is to improve the performance of these things, that is the encoding schemes that just now we are discussing. What is encoding? This mapping of data bit into signal element. Just what we have discussed, signal element, data bit to signal element. This also will decide the interpretation of the incoming signals. Right. So let us see how many types of encoding schemes are there, line encoding schemes. So let us focus on line encoding schemes. Before that, some factors you should know also while comparing those things for comparison of the different line encoding schemes. Okay, you can see first let us see the different types. So line encoding schemes, first one is the unipolar. Unipolar example is NRZ, non-return to zero. We'll discuss it. Next one is polar. We have seen unipolar, polar, polar. That is example is polar signaling. It is NRZ is NRZ L, NRZ I is also there. I RZ return to zero. RZ and biphase techniques. Biphase techniques includes Manchester or differential Manchester, not or and differential Manchester encoding techniques, and bipolar, unipolar, polar, bipolar techniques, AMI, alternate mark inversions, and one more type is here, that is pseudo ternary. Pseudo-ternary. Another category is here. Two more categories here. One is multi-level, and multi-transitions. Multi transition. Multi-level examples are 2 binary, 1 quaternary, like these things. Multi transitions, it is say MLT. More than 2 transitions are there. So they are the different line coding schemes. Some examples are 8 binary, 6 ternary, like these things in this way. We'll discuss all the techniques. Before that, ultimately after say how encoding schemes, you will see you learn encoding schemes, but when you compare it, these parameters, which one is advantageous and what is the advantage or disadvantage of the particular coding schemes, then you have to know these factors. So one is factors that will decide the characteristics of particular encoding schemes. Number one is the signal spectrums. Signal spectrum. Actually, in a particular encoding schemes, there should not be high frequency components. So, lack of high frequency components or less bandwidth is required for transmission signal spectrums. That is the indication. Right. So, if, when you use some encoding schemes, so that should be considered. The lack of high frequency components should be there, is required. I mean, less bandwidth should be there. Second one, the lack of DC component. Lack of DC component, that is also required in a particular encoding schemes. That is because if there is no DC components, then you see that will reduce the interference. I mean, AC coupling of AC coupling through transformer is possible if there is no DC component. AC coupling, so AC coupling will be there. So AC coupling through transformer. It's possible because transformer and there will be no interference. Otherwise, you see, if DC is present, then transformer will not allow the DC component to pass. So signal will be distorted. In that case, if DC component is present, then transformer will not be allowed to pass and distortion will result. Also, this DC component actually it is useless energy, right? And it remains on the line as an extra energy. It is useless energy. This DC component, and the good designer, what he will do actually. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So lack of DC component is desirables. Otherwise, if DC component is present, that will be useless energy, and transformer not allowed to pass through it. Distortion will result. Third one is the clocking. Clocking. You see, when you do this the encoding schemes, then see it is required to know the beginning and end of the bit positions, right? Beginning and end. Beginning and end should be known. That means synchronizations. So synchronization must be there. Synchronization. That clocking means actually it indicates synchronizations. synchronization, right? The beginning and end of the positions of the bit pattern should be determined, right, at the receiver. So to maintain these synchronizations, a separate clock can be used. So that is very expensive. Instead, if you design some encoding schemes, based on this, you can realize the synchronization that is highly desirable. We'll see one encoding scheme is here, self-clocking codes, self-clocking. In that case, you don't need of separate clock pulses. Separate clocking mechanism is not required. Encoding scheme itself will provide these synchronizations. So that is the clocking. So it's suitable. So you need suitable encoding schemes that can provide the synchronization itself. There is no need of external clocking mechanisms. Fourth one is the error detections. Error detections. Generally, error detections, you have digital system design, you have seen it, some parity bit, parity bit is used, or sometimes we'll see it, some other methods can be used for error detections. CRC technique, etc. Many techniques are there for error detections. But instead, if you have encoding schemes that itself can provide the error detection capability, right? That is highly desirable. So that is possible also with C, and some encoding schemes, they can provide the error detection capability into the physical encoding schemes. So that if that is there, then quickly the error can be detected, right? That is the error detection capability. Fifth one, you see, that is the signal interference. Signal interference and noise immunity. So some codes in SEET, some codes exhibit greater performance over the when noise is present. Right. In presence of noise, some encoding schemes they can perform better. Another point also, while considering the encoding schemes that you have to see, that is the cost and complexity. Cost and complexity. If you design some encoding schemes easier, but if it is more cost, it is more complex, that is not desirable. So we'll see some of the codes. If you increase the data rate, then cost will be more. That is not required. That is not desirable. Also, we'll see some coding schemes and the signaling rate. Just now you have seen it. Signaling rate, data rate. Signaling rate is high. Signaling rate. If the signaling rate is high, then more bandwidth will be required. So that will be more costlier. So those things are to be kept in mind while considering the encoding schemes. So with this, now quickly just see one encoding schemes. Let's see one unipolar schemes. Unipolar, that is the most basic ones. Unipolar schemes, that is NRZ. In this case, see here, I told you all the signal levels will be either positive or negatives. So and it is called NRZ, non-return to zero. NRZ, non-return to zero. Non-return to zero. You see these ones. Say 1, 0, 1, 1, 0 like these things. So if it is 1, like these things. So here it is high, it is voltage, say V, it is 0, high, it is 0, it is high, it is also high, it is 0 like these things. Right. This is the time, as you see. Right. So here you see here a positive voltage means 1, 0 voltage means it is 0 bit, right? And if you see the next time, you will see the time it's okay. Next time we'll see with respect to polar scheme, it is very costlier because more power is required to transmit one bit per unit times. So it is almost double the polar energy. That's why it is not used in data conversion today, but it is the most basic one you should learn when you consider the other ones. Now, can you anybody suggest why it is called non-return to zero? Anybody from these diagrams? Can you suggest anybody why it is called non-return to zero? Only one question I'm asking to you. Can you answer it? Why it is called non-return to zero? Quickly. Anybody? Anyone? Anyone? Can you suggest why it is called non-return to zero? Anyone? Harshvardhan?
Nice, sir. Idea is.
Or anybody else? Why it is called non-return to zero? Abhinav?
No, sir, no idea, sir.
Non-return to zero. That means if you see it, signal level does not go to zero during the bit durations. If you see it here, signal level does not go to zero. Here you see, but you'll see another schemes. You'll see signal level, there can be mid-bit transitions. That time signal level can be go to zero. For one bit, you see that is signal level remain high. Right? It is not zero. That's why it is called NRZ. It does not return to zero in the middle of the bit. That's why it is called non-return zero. Anyway, next time we'll see it this much. If you have any questions, you can ask. Anybody? Anybody, if you have any questions, you can ask. If no questions, that I'm leaving.
No, sir. No question, sir. Sir, the previous DSD WhatsApp group, can I convert it into our this group, sir? It would be easier for communication.
I don't have those things. Better you do it. I have given the code. I have sent the code to you. One code.
No, sir. Not for Teams, sir. Just for a WhatsApp group. I was asking.
Or WhatsApp. WhatsApp. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, WhatsApp. Okay. Same DST code, na?
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether it is written new WhatsApp I have created. So your case it is 20 or which DST MO20 it was no.
Sir, again I'll just